basketball, the talk of the town. Michigan, Michigan State, Detroit Mercy, and Oakland all playing great basketball. We'll dive into each team. And of course, Michigan trying to do something they've never done in program history as well. Tom Brady, former Wolverine, does it again. The NFL down to the Final Four. We're talking that and much more. This is the 7 Sports Cave. Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the 7 Sports Cave. Rico Beard, Neil Rule joining me today. Guys, how was your weekend of, I don't know, NFL football if you watched it?
You know what? It really wasn't that great. Then all of a sudden, the Saints game happened. And Alshon Jeffries didn't see that coming. I got the best hands in the league. Yeah, he's going to live to regret those words. Neil, it's almost like, saying Florida has no chance in a bowl game.
Right, or Michigan football is going to win a big game, right? Exactly like saying that.
Sometimes you eat those words, and I thought Philadelphia was actually going to beat the Saints, and the Saints got handed a gift.
Well, I mean, falling down 14-0. We'll get to the game a little bit more in detail. We'll also talk about the GOAT back, Tom Brady, what he did today. Again, the ageless wonder, and the Patriots still rolling. But I want to start today with college basketball in the state. It's clearly head and shoulders above where every other team is as far as the professional franchises go. Guys, 1,001 day and counting since the last franchise playoff victory for any of the Big Four. But Michigan and Michigan State basketball have an opportunity to not only win a Big Ten championship, but beyond that. So let's start there. We'll talk about the Metro Series rivalry as well, but let's go with number 2 team in the country, Michigan. They just moved to 17-0 today with a victory over Northwestern. Best start in program history, and that's a decently rich traditional program over there in Michigan. Rico, why are they so impressive?
Well, a lot of that was because Vic Law didn't play. Let's be real about it. It's not an excuse, but their best player wasn't playing. But I think it goes back to the fact that they played in the summer. So they're kind of in mid-season. They were in mid-season form while other teams were still trying to find their sea legs. Playing overseas really helps a lot. Beeline did it the right way this time, where you actually go and play semi-pro teams and lose. But your team gets value in those losses to see where they're at. Now, they're playing well now. The only thing is, are they going to burn out because they're not using their bench as much as I think that they should? They're running a 7-man rotation. They haven't been hit by an injury bug. Can they keep this going with a 7-man rotation all the way through to the first week of April?
Yeah, but Rico, college basketball runs smaller. I mean, that's just the way it is. And when you get deeper, and not only into conference play, but you get into tournament play, the game shrinks even more. So that doesn't really concern me. The only concern I would have, because they're not just beating people right now, Michigan, they're beating people to sleep. I mean, they're not playing close basketball games here. This is as impressive as a run as we have seen in a very, very long time.
They're unbeatable.
Yes.
But they're unbeatable in Chrysler. I mean, it's just like
it's a wrap. I mean, don't even bother.
They'll hit a 15-0 run and the game's over.
And I think that's what's interesting because, again, if you go back to maybe even 3 years ago when they started figuring out, hey, if we play some defense, we might actually be pretty good with this, John Beeline, shoot from the outside, play from the outside in type of mentality. And here they are. They're one of the best defensive efficient teams in the country, and that's how they blitz you so quickly.
Well, that's what makes John Beeline a great coach. Guys, especially in big-time college sports, big-time coaches, they develop this identity, right? And they've done it well for so long, and they've won for so long with it. So obviously my way works. John Beeline's one of those guys that will evolve. And in evolution, whether it's sports or business or anywhere, evolution's the key. If you can keep on evolving like John Beeline has, they're beating people Tupac style. How do you want it? I mean, that's the way he's coached.
Look at that.
Is he? I know, what a reference, right? Is he a front runner for Coach of the Year, doing what he's done with this cast of characters?
Rico, give in and say yes.
I mean, I think so.
Rico, give in and say yes.
I'm just going down the mental list. I mean, you can't give it to Coach K because, I mean, who couldn't coach those guys?
Exactly. For Zion.
Right. I mean, probably so. I mean, I can't really see any other coach that would be up for the Coach of the Year.
They're beating people to sleep. These games aren't close.
That also kind of gives me some pause, though, to just crown them the best team in the Big Ten, not only because you have another potential best team in the Big Ten just down the road, but I got to see, that's what's so great about the college basketball season is you get to see how they win in all sorts of ways. And I need to see them in a close game where they have to go to the foul line because they are not very good from the foul line, and that's not been a factor.
And let me add the caveat to that, on the road.
True.
Because, I mean, I know they played Villanova, but it just seems like they haven't left Chrysler. It just seems that way. It's like every game's at Chrysler. Who made up their schedule?
John Beeline.
Of course.
I mean, come on.
And the other thing is, and to go back to last year, Purdue went on the holiday. They did the summer thing, and Purdue looked great. Purdue was a top 4 team.
Right. Well, they also had more horses than they do.
But then all of a sudden,
and they also went Purdue before it was all said and done.
But they hit a wall.
Right.
And that's the only thing for Michigan. Will you hit that wall come February because you started your season so early?
True.
That, a lot of teams do that, where they just kind of crash. Michigan State, they went on the road. That was the same year they lost to Middle Tennessee. You kind of just crash and burn. So
it's such a long run, too, to play this well from beginning to end. It just doesn't happen. I mean, that's kind of piggybacking on what you said, Rico. In my opinion, that would be my concern is, how long can you play this well for? You can't do it for an entire season. You just can't.
It is very difficult to obviously go wire to wire with that type of success in college, but a loss or two probably wouldn't hurt the Wolverines, especially at this point of the year. Go through a little adversity because you're going to face it later on in the season. I think an opportunity for them to really show, hey, we're still here in Madison next weekend. It's a tough place to win. Go to Kohl Center. That's going to be a tough place for anybody to play and win.
No, it is. Brad Davison is the new guy who everybody's going to hate.
Ethan Happ is his 7th or 8th year of eligibility.
No, Ethan Happ, Ethan Happ.
The Tony Rice of college basketball.
It's Brad Davison because he is just that guy that just gets under, like, oh my God, this guy. But yeah, going to Madison, that's going to be probably their biggest challenge. Probably going to be their first loss. It's not a bad thing, Wolverines.
Right.
Don't get angry and send me mean tweets. You don't want to go undefeated in college basketball because now you no longer are just going up against your opponent. You're also going up against being undefeated in that pressure. Ask Kentucky. You don't want that pressure. You do want a couple of losses.
Well, and that's exactly kind of what Tom Izzo is feeling today. Look, they went to Penn State today. They got a nice victory on the road, but Cassius Winston had his worst game in Izzo's mind maybe ever. 7 turnovers, just 11 points. They kind of still discombobulated. Michigan State's kind of going through that adversity that Michigan hasn't yet seen yet with the loss of Josh Langford. Kyle Arns missed the trip today as well. So as we talk about the Spartans now and their potential chances, why, Neil, do they continue to have such success without one of their key pieces and even a good complementary player?
Well, Cassius Winston picked a good opponent to play less than today. He did. Let's just be real about it. And I'll back that up and say this. I got a chance to call the Oakland-Michigan State game. Cassius Winston is probably the best point guard in the Big Ten. He's certainly in the running. Anytime your resume talks about your freshman year and you're compared with Magic and everything like that numbers-wise, you are. And
Neil said that, not me, folks. Please,
but he is one of the best point guards in the Big Ten. That being said, you have your big, your obligatory big, and Nick Ward as well. The recipe is just right. Now, injuries always the great equalizer, right? How many great teams have we seen throughout history suffer the injury bug, fall back to the pack? But with Michigan State, and see, this is the thing, Rico, and this is me talking, not Rico, so you can send those tweets to me. They won the Big Ten regular season going away last year. Like, it was locked up. People forget that, and I'll never understand why. And I know Michigan was sexy, and they won the tournament, and they went to the championship game, and a shout-out to my guy, Sadie Washington there, former Golden Grizzlies coach. They got a great staff there. But with all that being said, people forget that fact. Michigan State won this thing going away last year in the regular season. Any coach will tell you what's a true measuring stick of a team.
Well, they put the stat up during the game that by winning today, 18 straight Big Ten victories that Michigan State has had. And I do agree. I think the injury bugs are kicking in, but they're still finding ways to win. They're winning on the road. Yeah, it was Penn State, and I know Penn State.
They did win the NIT last year.
Right,
everyone's gone.
But the thing is, at the Big Ten, you got to try and split the road games, and they're still playing that way. And they picked, as Neil said, they picked a great game to play lousy. You probably couldn't have gotten away with this on Thursday against Nebraska, or you couldn't go into Chrysler and play this way. But what you are seeing is you saw Foster Loyer, you saw Gabe Brown, you saw Aaron Henry, you saw the younger guys trying to expand the bench. And look, Kyle Arns got a ton of starts early because of injuries. The dividends are paying off. And I think for Izzo, he's hoping that come tournament time, you're seeing Aaron Henry turning that corner. Can you get Gabe Brown? Can you get 10 minutes out of Foster Loyer? That may be the difference between being eliminated in the first weekend and maybe a Final Four run.
I always question this too, and this is something that I would really like to pick Izzo's brain about, is reinserting a guy like Langford into the lineup when your team, up until today, hasn't really been playing that bad. Now, I just wonder, because does it mess with the chemistry or no?
No, I don't think it messes with the chemistry at all. If anything, it gives you the fact that you can now bring Kyle Arns, you can now bring Aaron Henry, along with Xavier Tillman off your bench, and you don't lose a step. You've seen it before. When the bench players come in, it's just kind of like, okay, can you guys maintain the lead or try not to lose too bad? These guys come in, and it's just like they don't miss a beat. So, I think people forget Langford was the second leading scorer when he was injured, and he played phenomenal defense. So, yes, they're missing that key piece. And I think for Izzo, I don't think anything's wrong, but it's one of those, I'm going to let you heal up as long as I can, because, quite frankly, he'll never say this publicly, we were going to beat Penn State without you. We were going to win these games without you. He may not even play against Nebraska. I think you'll see his first game probably Monday at home against Maryland. Then you're going to need him.
But with all this being said, they went on the road to Penn State and absolutely choked them out. I mean, it was a wrap by halftime. Everything was done and settled. That's exactly what you're looking for. That speaks to a good roster and a good team when you can do that. That's a true measure, as you said, Rico. What do you do when you're on the road? Today, choke Penn State out.
Matt McQuaid, not enough love for Matt McQuaid. His defense has gotten a lot better. He's been one of those ball hawks on defense. And look, when you go 3 for 4, or 4 for 5 today, like he did from long point. I mean, that's the reason that he was brought in. And what
I think the problem is, and I made this comparison, and Tom doesn't agree. I think this team is better than last year's team because this year's team understands a collective effort is needed to win games. Last year, like it or not, a lot of standing around and watching Miles Bridges do what Miles does. Is he going to dunk? Is he going to take somebody? And they were willing to just concede everything through Miles, where now it's Cassius, or it's Nick Ward, or it's Langford, or it's McQuaid, it's Arnn. You've seen so many different people take a lead role in a game that if you're trying to defend Michigan State, it's like, okay, let's take Cassius out the game. Okay, well, Nick Ward goes for 30 points. Okay, well, let's double team Nick. Okay, Matt McQuaid's hitting points. So this year's team, the balance, this is a Tom Izzo team. This is the type of team that Tom can take far into the tournament.
It'll be interesting. They share the ball better than almost anybody in the country. Their assists to buckets made is outstanding in the top 10 of the country for sure. Something else that's outstanding right in this local area, a couple of scorers in the top 20 scoring nationally. We'll talk about Metro Series rivalry. That's coming up soon. Neil, you'll be there for that game.
Absolutely, be on the radio call.
I'll be there for that game as well. We'll talk about Antoine Davis and Xavier Hill-Mays coming up next here on the 7 Sports Gate. Get your tweets in. What do you think about Michigan and Michigan State going to the Final Four? We'll take those later as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back.